Good morning, students. Come back to the subject SP. In last lecture, students, we had started with the new concept, that is share certificate. Let's have a small recap of it. Share certificate is a registered document which is issued by a company to its shareholders. Share certificate is an evidence of ownership for shareholders, or the one who holds the share certificate becomes the owner of the company, a part owner of the company. Two more important things about share certificate is that share certificate should be issued under the common seal of the company. Also, it should be duly signed by two directors, board of directors, and company secretary. Below are the contents of share certificate, which we had studied in detail in last lecture. Here is the table which shows the time of issue of shares and to whom the share certificate is to be issued. Students, again I am telling you all, to be good in SP subject, you need to keep on reading the concepts again and again and understand the concept. Now, let's begin with the new concept, that is calls on shares. Before I start with this concept, calls means what, students? Calls are nothing but asking for the money, asking the applicant to pay for the shares. See students, till now we had studied the process of the complete procedure of issue of shares. Firstly, company offers public shares through prospectus. Okay, company first offers public to invites public to invest in their company through prospectus. Along with the prospectus, company gives the form. Now, those who are interested in the company, they will be filling the form along with the application money. Once the company receives the application form and money, company sort out those applications and decides on the basis of certain criteria. Company decides whom to allot the shares and whom to give the letter of regret, that is refusal letter. So now just concentrate on the slot to whom letter of allotment is given, to whom shares are allotted. Now once the company gives letter of allotment to the applicants, it is the responsibility of applicant to submit the amount of shares. Now it is up to the company when to call the shares. Is that clear? See, now I'll just read it out. When the company demands the shareholders to pay a part or full amount of the balance amount unpaid on shares, it is called as calls on shares. Is that clear now, students? See, whenever company asks the applicant to pay for the amount, that time it is called as calls on shares. Students, sometimes applicants pay half of the amount of shares and half is pending. That time, in such situation, it is said that shares are paid partly. That is called as partly paid up shares. Again I am repeating, Whenever applicant pay half of the amount and half is pending to be paid, that time it is called as partly paid up shares. In such cases, students, it is the responsibility of applicant to pay back the remaining amount. It is the liability of shareholder to pay the unpaid amount. Are you all getting, students? It is the liability, it is the responsibility of shareholders to pay the unpaid amount on shares. If in case shareholders fail to pay this unpaid amount, if a shareholder doesn't pay the remaining amount, then company has right to forfeit the shares. This is the new concept. Forfeit means to take away the shares from the shareholder. Forfeit means to take away the shares from the shareholder. Is that clear? Now, there are certain rules which are laid down on the company also regarding calls on shares. Company should send 14 days of prior notice to the shareholders regarding payment of calls on shares. Is that clear? This is the rule which company has to follow. Second rule is no call can be made for more than 25% of the nominal value of shares. If the value of share is 1000 rupees, company cannot ask for more than 25% of it. 25% of 1000 will be 250. So company at a time in one call, company can ask for 250 rupees if the share value is 1000. Company is not allowed to ask more than that. Is that clear? Now, another rule. There should be a gap of at least 1 month between two calls. Whenever company is asking for calls, there should be a proper gap of 1 month between two calls. Is that clear? Again, I am repeating, it becomes compulsory for the company, or it becomes the rule of the calls on share is if any of the shareholder doesn't pay or fails to pay the calls after giving notice and after giving reminder to the shareholder, company has full authority to forfeit the shares. Forfeit means to take away the shares. Is that clear? Now, let's understand the concept of forfeiture of shares in detail. Again, I'll just read out the first point. If a shareholder fails to pay calls on shares within a certain period, the board of directors, if authorized by article of association, students, if it is mentioned in the article of association and if article of association permits the board of directors to forfeit the shares, then and then only company can forfeit. That is, company can take away the ownership of a member. Is that clear? This process is called as forfeiture of shares. Is that clear? Now again, there is a rule on company. Company has to send 14 days prior notice of forfeiture to the concerned member. For example, if XYZ person has not paid calls, then company cannot directly forfeit his or her share. Company will have to first give 14 days prior notice to that particular shareholder. so as to make payment along with interest. Is that clear, students? Next point, that is forfeited shares can be reissued by company. Students, once the company forfeit the shares from the shareholders, company has full authority, full right to reissue those shares to someone else. Is that clear? Now, let us see the effects of forfeiture. Cessation of membership or cancellation of membership. Once the shares of XYZ person is been seized, is been cancelled, is been forfeited from him, then his membership is cancelled. Clear? Second point, liability of member. Even though his membership is cancelled, it is the liability of that person to pay the remaining amount to the company. Clear? The liability of member will continue till company doesn't reissue it. I'll give an example. If I forfeited shares of Kunal, okay, and I reissued those shares in the public and someone purchased those shares, so now here the liability of Kunal will be over. Once the company reissues those forfeited shares, the liability of member is completed. Clear? Now Kunal will not have to pay the amount, the unpaid amount on shares. Is that clear? Third point is liquidation of company. Whenever company is liquidating, at that time, if the shares are forfeited and within 1 year only shares, I'll give an example, students. See, if XYZ company had forfeited shares, I'll take the same example. If my company had forfeited shares of Kunal, okay, now within 1 year only my company is liquidated. Still, it is the responsibility of Kunal, it is the liability of Kunal to pay back the money to company as the ex-owner of the company. Clear? Students, if you all have any doubt in any of the point, please mark it out. At the time of doubt solving session, we will clear all the doubts. Okay, let's move to the next topic, that is surrender of shares. These are two different concepts, students. Forfeited shares means company takes away the shares, but here surrender of shares means shareholder himself will voluntarily surrender his shares to the company. Clear? Let us see the first point. This means voluntarily written off shares by the member to the company for cancellation. If Kunal feels that I am not able to pay the unpaid amount, then voluntarily he will return back his shares to the company. This process is called as surrender of shares. Okay. Second point, only partly paid up shares can be surrendered. Only partly paid up. Of course, no one will surrender fully paid up. Okay. Next point, the article of association of a company must provide for surrender of shares. As I said, students, article of association contains all internal rules and regulation of every company. It differs from company to company. If company allows the process of surrender of shares, then and then only this process can be carried on in the company. Okay. Surrender of shares leads to reduction of capital. Hence, companies avoid surrender of shares. See students, if XYZ person voluntarily surrender his shares to the company, what will happen over here? The unpaid amount is still unpaid only. They are voluntarily saying that they are not able to pay the remaining amount. So because of this process, there will be a reduction in the capital of the company. Company will not get the expected capital from the shareholder. And so they usually avoid this process. Clear? Now, let us understand the next topic, that is transfer of shares versus transmission of shares. Very important topic from exam's point of view. One or the other question will definitely be there in the exam, students, in some or the other way, either in the short note or in the long answer or in the justification or in the distinguish between. Some or the other way, these two topics are definitely there in the exam. So I want you all to understand this concept very carefully. Now, with the help of distinguish between, students, we will cover both the topics and we will understand the topic more clearly. So here, what is the meaning of transfer of shares? Transfer of shares means voluntarily giving away one's shares to another person by entering into a contract with the buyer. Now, transfer of shares is nothing but the voluntarily transferring the shares from one person to another person. That is nothing but buying and selling process of shares. If I have some shares with me, I want to sell those shares, so I am selling those shares to Shalaka. So, voluntarily I am transferring those shares to Shalaka. Voluntarily transferring means I am selling those shares to Shalaka. This process is nothing but transfer of shares. Clear? Now, exact opposite of it is transmission of shares. It means transfer of ownership of members' shares to his legal representative due to operation of law. Now, what is operation of law? There are 3 incidents under operation of law: due to death, due to insolvency or insanity. There is one more concept which I had not written, and third one is bankruptcy. Due to these 3 points, students, these 3 points are nothing but the operation of law. Whenever any of these 3 points are occurring, that time there will be a transmission of shares. If Mr. A has 1000 shares with him, after his death, his legal hearer, his legal representative will get those shares. So what is happening over here? Due to operation of law, there is a transmission of shares. Clear? In another case, that is insolvency or insanity. As I said this in 11th standard also, insolvency means bankruptcy and insanity means a mental disability. Due to these 2 incidents, again there will be a transmission of shares. Are you all getting, students? Now, let us understand the second point. Second point is when it is done. See, it is done when the member wants to sell his shares or give his shares as gift. Under these 2 cases, either at the time of selling of shares or if you are giving the shares as a gift to someone else. In this cases, there will be a transfer of shares. Under transmission of shares, it is done when the members die or becomes insolvent or insane. Clear? Third point, nature of action. Under transfer of shares, it is voluntary action taken by the member. Whereas under transmission of shares, it is involuntary action. Is death, is insolvency, is insanity in your hands, students? No. Is it done voluntarily? No. It is involuntary action. Clear? Now, fourth point, parties involved. Who are involved under transfer of shares? In transfer of shares, there are two parties involved. The member, who is called as transferor, and the buyer, who is called transferee. The one who is selling the shares is called transferor, and the one who is purchasing the shares is called transferee. And under transmission of shares, there is one party, only one party. Example, the nominee of the member in case of death of the member, or we can say legal representative in case of insanity. Is that clear? There will be only one party involved. Fifth point, instrument of transfer. Transfer requires instrument of transfer, students. It is a contract between transferor and transferee. Of course, there will be certain documents which are to be done. There will be a proper contract between transferor and transferee in case of transfer of shares. Whereas in case of transmission of shares, no instrument of transfer is needed. Is there any contract? There are no two parties involved, so there won't be any contract. There is only one party involved under transmission of shares. Clear? Let's see the next one. Sixth point, initiated by. Transferor initiated the transfer process. Who initiates, students? The one who want to transfer, the one who want to sell. The transferor initiates. Initiates means the one who starts. So transferor initiates the transfer process. Whereas under transmission of shares, legal representative or official receiver initiates the process of transmission. Of course, if Mr. A is dead, his legal representative will have to initiate. He will have to start the process of transmission of shares. Yes or no? Next point, consideration. Transfer of shares is done often by the member to receive some consideration. That is, buyer has to pay for the shares. Of course, there will be a proper consideration in the case of transfer of shares. The one who is selling the shares will expect some consideration. Buyer, the one who is purchasing the shares, will have to pay for the shares. Yes or no? In case of transmission of shares, there won't be any consideration involved. The legal hearer or official receiver need not pay. They will not pay. Of course, legal hearer, to whom he will pay? Yes or no? Next is liability. The liability of transferor ends after the shares are transferred. Once the transferor transfers the shares, his responsibility is over. And it is the responsibility, it is the liability of transferee, the buyer, to pay for the shares. Clear? In case of transmission of shares, original liability of the member continues in case of transmission of shares. Over here now, students, Mr. A is dead. Now, whatever shares he possesses are being transferred to his legal representative. But if the shares that Mr. A was holding, there are certain shares which are unpaid. When he was alive, it was his responsibility, it was his liability to pay. But now, if the shares are being transmitted to his legal representative, all the liabilities what Mr. A was possessing are being transferred to his legal representative. It means what? Whatever shares are unpaid are to be paid by the legal representative of Mr. A. It is the responsibility of Mr. A's legal representative to pay the unpaid amount on shares. Clear? Stamp duty. Stamp duty as per the market value of shares has to be paid. Whatever stamp duties are going on in the market are to be paid. Is that clear? There are no stamp duties to be paid in case of transmission of shares. I hope you all are clear with all these points. Now, here are the assignments for you all. First question is, explain the following term, transmission of shares. Second one is transfer of shares. Third one is forged share, and fourth one is blank transfer. Forged transfer and blank transfer. These are very small concepts which are there in the PDF and very easy concept. I want you all to read it out and write it down in your notebook. I am going to ask questions to anyone on these two topics in the next session. Clear? I hope you all had done with the next question. Explain briefly the procedure for allotment of shares. For today, this much is the assignment. Clear? Thank you.